Here we are in our conversations with the candidates to the municipal election of 2021 in the city of Holyoke, Massachusetts, and we welcome Paola Ferrario, who is candidate for City Council at large. Paola, welcome. Thank you for being here with us, and if you would like to introduce yourself.
Yes, so my name is Paola Ferrario, and I'm actually can probably go already in the first question, which is, who am I as a candidate, and mix it up a bit and tell you a little bit about myself. One important thing to know is that I am not from Holyoke. I was born in Italy in 1963 and left for the United States when I was about 18 years old. But a very important moment in my life was when I had gotten a job at mid-college, and I took a bicycle ride to Holyoke, and I was driving my bicycle fast down Dwight Street, and I saw the city from above. And I remember thinking, this is one of the most beautiful city I've ever seen. And, that was a moment where I fell in love with Holyoke. And then, I committed, I moved here, I bought my first house and I bought another house. But, I had come from Providence where I taught at the state college. And before then I was in Guatemala where I learned Spanish, and I was working on a Fulbright project to talk about the connection between Catholic religion and Mayan religiosity and beliefs. And so, I remember thinking, I've been in many places and this city is incredible. And so as a candidate, I have skill, I have administrative skill, I have taught, but basically, I feel I am part of the people who have come to Holyoke in the past 15, 20 years. We represent a middle class, upper middle class, but we see the city, and I hate the word potential. I see a beautiful city with assets and riches, and I really want it to very much, acknowledge that and make sure that those assets become a good things for all. I felt as a newcomer, and now after 16 years, I'm still considered a newcomer. I'm somebody who did not have the stress of seeing the manufacturing business going. I don't have that trauma. I see the city for what it is. I see it with a worldly perspective. And I think I have idea, and I think I can, bring some solution, and I really want to be a part of it.
So now that we got to learn a little bit about you and background coming into Holyoke, what are your top priorities as a candidate for the city council at large?
Well, and again, my top priority are the environment, the historical building, whether it belong to the city or to other, redoing the master plan, because again, and that you can find all of that on my website, because Holyoke is a city with incredible parks. We have Mount Tom State Reservation. We have water, and water is the richest thing that you can have. We're up on a hill, so we are protected by flood. A river runs through it. We have a great electric company. So partially it's to acknowledge all of that, also acknowledging that there is huge disparity in Holyoke. Basically what I said, the Highland, Cherry Hill where I live, Oakdale, they have been gentrified. They are very rich neighborhoods. The flat South Holyoke, it's a huge disparity. My message is a message of unity. We have one area code, but in order for the whole city to be able to rise, we have to keep the momentum in the higher neighborhood, And we have to keep an eye and find good, new, hopeful solution for South at Holyoke in the Flats.
When campaigning, there are some specific points that become part of the campaign itself, and when this now transform into the plan of action, should you become city councilor at large, there are some plans and priorities, especially for an at-large position that takes care of everything related to the whole city. So what it will be now your top priorities should you become city councilor at large?
Okay. And so, and I chose a large, I want to be a large because again, with I have, I don't want to sound, arrogant, but I have a very good education. I've seen the world and I like to study. So I like to observe the city, keep documented on issues, and I want to try to find solutions for the whole city. And I think that's what the city council at large have to do. They have to think about everything. They have to look at contemporary innovation and all of that and report it to the board councilor at some level. So we are the ambassador of progress in many ways. And there are, for me, the council, once I'm on the council, I want, the two key words are competence and efficiency. And one of the things that really brought me to run is because I see a lot of drama, a lot of theater, but I don't see really good communication between the councilor. And I hope that we can work towards electing people that are different, but they can listen to each other and they can recognize different strengths and they can recognize that they're not the same, but they'll work together. And one thing that's really important about the perfect example to me of lack of competence and efficiency was on the city council meeting on June 15. It took over an hour to change Columbus Day to Indigenous People Day. And, if you have competence and you know about the discourse about Easter in the world, now you know that Spain is the only country in the world that still celebrate Columbus Day. You know the discourse of post-colonial history is being revised. You know that Holyoke has a 51% Latino population, for which Indigenous People Day is important. That change should have taken 5 minutes. It took over an hour and a lot of people had to come out and do that. The other thing, I think the city council does not use the legal department enough, the resources they have. And I don't want to go in detail because I would bore people, but I can think about many examples where they carry through something that if they just asked the legal department, they would have known that it could have been done. The sign ordinance is one of those things. The historical commission had to stop a bond for over $800,000 to destroy building downtown. And I don't go into particular because it's complicated, but the city council must use the legal department information that they have, ask for classes where they lack knowledge, and so that we get to that efficiency. And the last thing I would like, possibly, and it takes a lot of time, but make changes to the charter or ordinance, because for me, I had to rebuild a garage and I had to go in front of the city council. And, we should not micromanage. We should create different ways so that planning board, planning department can take care of those kind of permits.
Listening to this point certainly speaks of work that could be done and is all inside what happens to city council chambers and its body. When we talk about now the community all over the city of Holyoke, what will be your way, your approach to encourage more civic engagement?
Yes. And there are many kinds of civic engagement, but the first thing I want to say, the first thing is the website of the city, and it's gotten better. So if you click calendar, you see all the meeting. I really want to encourage city councilor, and my work counselor does it. I think Rebecca Lizzie did it, to send the agendas for meeting to their contingents, to people that ask, say, hey, this is coming up as city council, come and see it. But in order for that to happen, for people to show up, people need to be heard. And people need to feel that when the issue come up, everybody's working together to find a good solution. I have people telling me, we got demoralized. The other thing, and I'm not saying that is true, but people are afraid. And of course, our counselors are better than that, but they're afraid that if they speak out against an issue that the counselor really believe in, then there might be a repercussion in getting a permit for a garage. And that's we need to be welcoming. We need to say, we understand that that's your civil duty, and it's important. So really encouraging. And again, I spent 2 years trying to fight the demolition of Lynch. I had people that put so much volunteering time and they were not heard. And that it was so incredibly demoralizing, because there were people that had done a lot of research, brought experts, went out getting signature. So it's important that people feel that the government is them. Now, and one thing I want to say, and I don't want to forget anybody, but there are incredible things happening. So in terms of rolling up their sleeve and wanting to make their city better, there's so many things happening. We saw end-to-end community garden. It's a fantastic thing. We saw the people that went and for weekends in Polanski Park. They clean up the park. We saw the Chestnut Street Alliance, which I'm not a part of, but friends of mine cannot say enough good thing about it. So people want to participate. People want to make their city better. But for instance, when Linda went and cleaned up the park at Polanski Park, if I were a city councilor, I would have loved to call and say, Linda, thank you so much. I understand that is the job of public works, but thank you for picking up the pieces, but I will try to do better. I'll hope that the city will do better to keep that park clean. So that kind of thing. So the city councilor are right there. They recognize their work, but they make you part. They say, I am working too from the bureaucratic standpoint. So when you guy rolls up your sleeve, we'll make it happen.
Now, moving on to a different topic, where it's one of the most important, where we talk about economic development for the city of Holyoke, and particularly talking about the businesses. What are the most pressing issues facing businesses, and how would you propose to resolve them?
Okay. And so, and what is very important to me is I always say business is a generic word. We have dispensary, we have industry, we have Amazon, we have nail salon, we have restaurant, and the list goes on and on and on. So we have a lot of different businesses. And if you take all the diverse one, the common denominators, I think, are 3. People say the tax rate is too high for businesses, and it's $34 to $1,000. And it is objectively high. I think it used to work out in the past because electricity is so cheap here, buildings were so cheap here, but they're not anymore. So this is something we have to think about. The second thing, and it's when Mayor Murphy put together, a forum with all the business owner. What people say, the city has to be better. The sidewalk have to be fixed. There has to be more light. The trash has to be picked up. The trash comes up a lot. And the last very important thing is the process, the permitting. I want to give a shout out to Paper City Paw Spa, which is my new dog groomer, which I can walk to. And they moved to Holyoke. Within 2 months, they were booked out for a year. There was a huge need for a dog groomer. And so when I started running for councilman, I went there, I brought my car. I said, I'm so happy you're here. I want to hear from you. What can we do? And they said, we're so happy to be here, but it was so hard to get everything and get all the permit. So again, the website is so important. Maybe we can streamline the process so all the necessary things are there and people can click and find out what they have to do. We need to encourage, City Hall to be really service minded and make these people feel welcome, make the process feel clear.
When we talk about the different issues the city is facing in multiple aspects, all cities, all municipalities have their own issues, their own problems and challenges. But aside of sometimes the criticism that comes with part of it, there's also the opportunity to acknowledge the things that are well done, that are being done right. Mm-hmm. So from your point of view, what has the city done right lately?
So the city has done so many good things lately, and I have to use my list because it's a lot. And I really want to stress that the word lately is relative, because things take a long time in a city to happen. And so when they appear, basically, sometimes they've been in process for years. But one of the absolutely great things has been the CPA, Community Preservation Act, that was started and brought to Holyoke in 2016 by a group of very, very active citizens. And this year we gave away $1 million. And for the money for many projects, like to give 14 more acres to Scott's Tower, the Wisteria Hirsch Museum electric work had to be done. That was $55,000. The JFK Memorial at Pleasant and Dwight is being cleaned up. The War Memorial facade, Park and Rec space, so many good things. The Far Alpaca Mill is being transformed in 88 apartments for the elder at market rate and at affordable rate. And when developers came to Holyoke, funding come in, and the mill building is being repurposed, which is a very important thing. So there's new gas and electricity line on Fairfield District. Gas and water line that are extremely important, and that infrastructure was overdue, and now it's happening. We have the swimming pool, which it's great. And I'm very proud of the boards, like the planning board, and I'm on the historical commission, cycling boards. When I came here 16 years ago and seeing them now, they become more and more professional, really effective. The planning board stopped the Dunkin' Donuts on the mountain. Sorry, I'm blanking. The Historical Commission has worked at a new preservation ordinance, used to call the demolition delay, but to preserve building. And then I think Aaron Vega happened as the director of planning, and it might not be his natural niche or his training, but nobody knows Holyoke better, and we get a dynasty, the Vega dynasty, and Carlos Vega. He knows people, is genial, is promoting. There's a great event on the 16th, Open Door, is been promoting historical tourism, end-to-end community gardens. Again, fabulous. The farmer market, John Rivera, you're doing a great job with farmer market. So these are things, you know, I jot them down. There are many more, a lot of good things happening.
Another topic that is important for the community, the city of Holyoke, is the current status of receivership for the school district. So Holyoke Public Schools is still under control of the state.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on receivership?
So basically, you know, we went into receivership for 3 reasons. And it was the lowest high school graduation rate in the state, too many suspension, and the test score were very low. Having been an educator, a professor for many years, that data, what it tells me, it was that it was a punitive system, and that the kids were not engaged in the curriculum. So we went into receivership, and the data has gotten better. So the first thing to do is we have to acknowledge that our school system was in trouble, that we did not have the means to make it better, and it has gotten better. So receivership was not necessarily bad. Do we need to get out of receivership? Yes, we want to send the message that we can run, that the city can run their own schools. But you know, one thing very important to think about now, we have Dr. Anthony Stotto, that was born in Holyoke, is bilingual, is committed, and as a receiver is paid by the state. If we stop receivership to get a superintendent, and a superintendent probably as the state status and capacity of Dr. Soto will cost the city between $150,000 and $250,000. So I think when we're ready, we will get out of receivership. We also, you know, the fact the test score were so low, I think it's an indication that kids like me, you know, I'm a high functioning ADD and dyslexia person, were not getting the personal assistance that they needed per child, that attention. So we need to make sure the funding is delegated for that. We have very low funding per student in Holyoke. That is my understanding. So all of that, and when we're ready, we will get out of receivership. But the goal is not to get out of receivership. The goal is to have a good curriculum, is to make sure that all kids are taken care of, and that our school meet the standards.
So this is our conversation with Paola Ferrario, candidate for City Council at large, and we have covered all the questions that we have prepared for all the candidates to answer. Is there any last remarks that you would like to make, Paola?
I just want to say, I love Holyoke. I'm rooted here. This is home. I want to make this city better. Please give me a chance to get on the council.